Japan Airlines flight. On the 17th of November 1986, the entire crew of a Japanese cargo plane noticed two unidentified objects to their left in the air above Alaska. The two objects followed the cargo plane so closely that the crew at one stage even felt the warmth of the objects' light on their faces. The first two objects dropped away when the third, larger unidentified object arrived, at which point in time the pilots requested a change of course. The FAA noticed the objects on their radar and gave the crew a directive to evade the unidentified crafts. But even after making many distinct turns and dropping over 4,000 feet, the object continued to trail the cargo plane for 400 miles. On the 19th of November, the crew was interviewed by the FAA, who concluded that the crew was rational, normal and professional. During the same year, the pilot was grounded and moved to a desk job after he confirmed the crew saw UFOs during a press interview. The unidentified object was also seen by a U.S. Air Force jet on January 30, 1987. Saucer Sam. In 1952, Flight Sergeant Roland Hughes was returning to his base from a training mission when a gleaming silver, metallic disc started following him. The sergeant later described the disc to be shiny, highly reflective and about the size of a Lancaster bomber. The disc descended towards him and even traveled alongside him before it sped off at an incredible speed. The object was caught by the RAF radars. The controllers confirmed that the object traveled at speeds impossible for any of the aircraft of the time. 6 days later, Hughes was sent to West Germany to give his official account of what happened to senior RAF officers and the aviation minister. The minister was so convinced that he briefed civil servants on the matter. After the sighting, Hughes was nicknamed Saucer Sam and his colleagues decorated his jet with a painted flying saucer. According to his family, Hughes never spoke about the incident unless he was asked to do so. America West 564 sighting. On the evening of May 25, 1995, America West Flight 564 was flying at an altitude of about 39,000 feet close to Bovina, Texas. While observing lightning outside the plane, the attendant noticed a peculiar set of flickering lights, a little bit below the 757. The first officer was alerted to the phenomena. He immediately saw the lights, which he described as 8 bright blue strobes. As the rest of the flight crew watched the flashing lights, they could discern the object as being cigar-shaped. The pilots estimated it to be between 300 and 400 feet long. The object could not be seen on the FAA's radar. The following day, the controllers checked with NORAD and discovered that they tracked an unknown object the previous evening that appeared to be stationary, but would accelerate and stop time and time again at high speeds. These quick sprints were estimated between 1,000 and 1,400 miles per hour. The object was also seen by a U.S. Air Force pilot manning a NF-111A. To date, the incident remains unsolved. The Kra Lights. A series of sightings occurred in 1978 above the Kra mountain ranges of New Zealand. On the 21st of December, a flight crew observed strange lights around their aircraft which appeared to be tracking them. The objects were picked up by air traffic control in Wellington and Christchurch as well as the aircraft's onboard radar. On the 30th, a television crew from Australia filmed the mysterious objects on their way to Christchurch. Once again, the objects were tracked by radar in both Christchurch and Wellington. They also encountered a massive lighted orb which tracked them for almost 15 minutes. The orb was filmed, watched and tracked by radar. After the sightings, the Royal New Zealand Air Force, Police and Carter Observatory joined forces in the investigation of the matter. Its results were lodged in Wellington's National Archives. The Ministry of Defense claimed the lights were unburned meteors, squid boat lights or the planet Venus. Mysteriously, and creepily, 2 months earlier, Frederick Vallandish was flying a light aircraft off the coast of Australia. When he reported seeing lights of a similar nature and ultimately, via radio, said, "It is hovering and it's not an aircraft." After 17 seconds of a metallic scraping sound, the radio went dead. Vallandish and his aircraft vanished into thin air. A time-lapse camera was running 20 minutes earlier on a nearby beach, to photograph the sunset. When the film was developed, it captured a large object rapidly exiting the sea, and moving into the sky at a rapid pace. Laken Heath Bentwaters Incident. In August 1956, radar at Bentwaters and Laken Heath Air Force Base picked up targets that displayed erratic behavior. Individual and groupings of objects moved across the skies above. Some performed amazing aerobatic feats, displaying capabilities beyond that of any known aircraft. The radar images were corroborated by sightings from the ground and the air, even by a pilot in a C-47, who saw an object passing directly underneath his plane. As Laken Heath informed the RAF station at Wimbledon, fighters were sent up. As amazed personnel watched their radar screens, one pilot tried to engage an object and somehow got outmaneuvered, with the object ending up behind it. The pilot attempted to shake the unidentified object by every means possible, but it stayed on his tail. The event is unique as it was witnessed by military personnel and corroborated by several military radar stations. The conclusion of the Condon Committee, who usually concluded that UFOs were mere natural phenomena, stating that the probability that at least one genuine UFO was involved appears to be fairly high, have added fuel to the fire through the decades, making it one of the most compelling incidents in our history.